Am I making a mistake by fishing from my kayak? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wonder if I'm making a mistake by fishing exclusively from my kayak. There are several reasons why I think that. I'm going to go through them with you and you let me know what you think. I'm not getting rid of my kayak, so don't think about that. I've been an avid kayak fisherman for years. I've fished in Missouri, I fished in Pennsylvania, all from a kayak, and I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoyed it especially in Missouri because I used to fish a lot of creeks and small rivers, and floating up the creek, getting to a shallow spot, dragging your kayak over the top of it and keep going. Getting places where, unless you're on the bank or you own that property, you're not going to get to. You're not going to be able to fish. But as I'm inshore, there's a lot of shallow places here too. Very many shallow places, especially fishing in flats and stuff like that. Gets 1 foot, 2 feet, sometimes less deep. And a lot of those places you can't go into with a boat, but you can access them with a kayak. But here's my issue. If the fish aren't biting in that area and I want to move to a different area, that would require going and unloading my kayak or loading my kayak back up, then going to a different area, launching my kayak again, or pedaling all the way over there. If that's 2.5, 3 miles away, then that's not an option to pedal, in my opinion. That's quite a ways. Even with a trolling motor, that's quite a ways to just go. So that's part of my issues. Loading up and putting in another spot, that's not always an option either, because there may not be a launch in that area. So that's one of my main reasons for wanting to, or for considering getting a boat. Another reason is if I had a boat, I could launch at different areas. In some areas that just aren't safe for kayaks to launch at. Maybe they're too busy, or there's too much boat traffic once you get on the water, whatever the case may be. If I had a boat, I could launch at that area and explore much more of the lagoon, or the backwaters, or different creeks or rivers that connect to the lagoon. I could launch at one spot. For example, there's a launch just down the road here. I could launch there and I could fish this entire area. It would open up so much. It would open up so much for me to be able to fish. That would be fantastic in and of itself. The wind, on a day like today, I would be off the water. I just saw a guy with a canoe leave because the water's getting too rough. And in a boat, the wind is probably blowing. I don't know if you can see the water behind me or not, but the wind is probably blowing 10, 15 miles an hour. In a boat, that chop, those waves aren't bad. Another reason is comfort. I'm not getting any younger. I'm approaching 60. I'm going to be 57 this year. I'm not getting any younger, and the longer I spend in that kayak, the more uncomfortable I get. Back hurts, legs kind of get irritated from sitting in that weird pedal position. Loading it on the roof. Now, granted, that could be taken care of with a trailer. But there's so much. Dragging it to and from the ramp, this, that, and the other. There's so much benefit, in my opinion, to getting a boat. There's also a ton of benefit to staying with a kayak. I can launch places in a kayak that nobody else can. But you can fish the skinny water that nobody else can get to. If there's a really nice pocket of water and there's a sandbar there that's maybe only a few inches deep, a kayak float right over that. A boat isn't going to be able to get in there. So the main thing for me is going to be range and comfort, I would think. I don't think there's actually more launch spots, but I think of the launch spots that are around, you have a much bigger range that you can play with, that you can visit. Because, for example, there's a launch spot, like I said, just down the road here. I could go up or down the river 10 miles, 5 miles, 15 miles, and find good spots to fish. I could fish docks. I could fish mangroves. There's mangroves all along here. There's docks all along here. This is out in the main river. It's not back in a backwater. So now granted, it's probably considered backwater, but you know what I mean. The water's going to be cooler out here. And there's so much more you can do with a boat, in my opinion, at least in that scenario. Now I know with kayaks, you can get a NK 300 and put it on there and just do amazing things. You can go wherever you want to go. One, I'm not going to spend what they want for an NK 300. That's just ridiculous. Two, I'm not going to spend the time doing all that rigging on my kayak. I have my kayak set up where I've got a small trolling motor hangs off the side. I don't really need any more than that. I don't want any more than that. I'll do another video here at another time about how minimalistic I'm starting to get, especially with kayak fishing. I don't want to take everything because I have to put it on my roof. And here's where I'm going with this. I have to put it on my roof. So I put my seat on, I just latch it down really good so it doesn't flow and flap around and everything else. But that's all I can put on it. I have the trolling motor mount on there as well. When I get it down off of the roof, I have to put in my rods. I have to put in my tackle. I have to put in my life jacket. I have to put in if there's snacks I'm having, I have to put those in, or drinks in, or whatever the case may be. And by the time I've loaded up my kayak and getting ready to put it in the water, it's already been 20 minutes. And that's so much more time I could have with a boat. Back it in, done. This one isn't as important. I'm not a big gear guy anyway, but I would like to bring more gear. I'd like to not have to sort through and decide what's going in my tackle box this trip. I just did a video on taking a bunch of stuff out of my tackle box and deciding what should stay in there. The things I throw the most, paddle tails, shrimp imitations, things like that. Obviously, those are staying in there. But I would like more room to be able to carry more stuff. If I want to take 4 rods, I want to take 4 rods. Right now, I only carry 2, and a boat would allow that. It's got more storage, and it's got more room. So even if I have a little more gear, I'm not going to be tripping over it. It's not going to be getting in my way, that sort of thing. And there's something else that's holding me back from buying a boat, and that's buying the boat. That's cost. I don't want to drop, especially at this point, $20,000 on a boat, or $20,000 plus. If you want to get a good one, you're probably talking $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, and I'll never spend that unless I win the lottery. So as I said, the kayak's not going anywhere. What I'm trying to decide is, do I want to add something to the arsenal, and will that add be beneficial? Yeah, if I get a boat, a big enough boat, I can take the family out on it. My wife and daughter aren't big outdoors people. My wife would probably go and take pictures. She likes to see dolphins and manatees and that sort of thing. That's another thing. Manatees wouldn't be an issue with the boat either. Kayaks, I've had several instances where they've darn near flipped me. And I know people who have been flipped by manatees. So that's another thing. I wouldn't have to worry about manatees. That's a huge plus in my book. But like I said, I'm not filming this right before I go get a boat by any means. I'm trying to decide, one, whether a boat would be beneficial to me in my fishing. At this point, I think it would, but I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys fish in boats? Did you go from a boat to a kayak, or from a kayak to a boat? Let me know the pros and cons as you see them, because you're going to be helping somebody out a great deal. Yeah, but there's pluses on both sides. The main one for a boat for me is going to be the range. A little bit of the comfort. There's standing room. I don't stand in my kayak. I'm a fatso, so and then I think there's going to be more options with the boat as well. More options of places to fish in a boat. A kayak, I'm very limited. Now a kayak can go places where a boat can't go. I can launch 1,000 places in a kayak. I'm quiet. It's stealthy. There's a lot of options with the kayak. So I don't think I'm getting rid of the kayak. That's in my opinion right now, not even an option. But I would like at some point to add a boat. But this is where I need your guys' help. I need you to let me know your opinions. Have you had a boat? Do you have a boat? Do you have a kayak? Do you prefer one over the other? If you were in a kayak and you got a boat, do you regret it? Do you like it? Do you still use your kayak? That sort of thing. I'd really love to know your answer. All right, guys, thanks for watching Outdoor Mishaps again. I apologize for not being on the water. Today was 120, I think, in the shade, according to the weather, with the feels like temperature. It was like 99 or something crazy like that. A lot of people out in the evening, though. It's very windy. It's cooling off a great deal. But I just didn't go fishing. I didn't feel like hefting the kayak around. And I had concerns that I would make another video where there's no fish, because yeah, it's hot and the fish are going to be deep, and hell, I can't find them when they're shallow.